Hello and welcome to another episode of How I Grow. Today's video, episode 45, will be the day 1 to 30 adventure for a berry Ryder Autoflower from Autoseeds genetics. This plant will be grown in deep water culture hydroponics, along with the plant from the previous episode. In the next video, episode 46, this plant and the previous two will be all finished together. A big thank you to Spiderfarmer for sponsoring this video and making it possible. As usual, I start germinating my seeds by dropping them directly onto dechlorinated tap water. It will then take roughly 3 to 5 days for the seed to develop a 1 to 2 centimeter long taproot. 4 days later, the seedling was ready, so I prepared a peat puck and planted the seedling inside. This puck will be used to give the seedlings starter roots something to grip onto before it gets buried in the deep water culture bucket's clay pebbles. I then placed the seedling inside of my 2x4 or 60 cm by 120 cm tent underneath an SE4500, which is dimmed to 20% power, running 24 hours of lights on. Our seedling has shed her shell all on her own. Today I'm not feeling quite ready to set her up in her hydroponic bucket, so I just give her a quick splash of water to make sure that she doesn't run dry. The next day, she had grown considerably, but I still wasn't ready, so I just gave her another splash of water to tie her over for another night. The next day, I set up her Spiderfarmer deep water culture bucket. I filled the reservoir with dechlorinated tap water so that the water line was just about a centimeter below the net pot, and I rinsed out her clay pebbles to avoid making a mess of the reservoir. In the water, I have 2 air stones, which is probably a bit overkill to keep the water aerated. But I suppose there's no kill like overkill. Well, I'm sure that there's a limit for where there's too many bubbles, but I don't think we're there yet. After carefully removing the rest of the shell, I excavate enough clay pebbles from the net pot so that the peat puck will be under the top layer. This seedling is a bit more stretched out than the last episode's deep water culture plant, which is convenient because the puck can be planted just a little bit lower while still allowing for the leaves to be above the surface. And she's ready to go. I won't be worrying about any nutrients in the water until the roots get there. Our seedling has grown a significant amount overnight, which I'm very pleased to see. The air bubbles from below the net pot should be enough to keep the pebbles around the peat puck moist, but just in case, I watered the peat puck through the top pebbles just to be sure. After 4 days, I increased the light intensity to 50%. For her current size, I want her to be getting around 500 ppfd of light intensity. She has some minor imperfections, but overall she's looking pretty good. She's been surviving from whatever food is in the peat puck, which isn't going to be much, and my 60 ppm dechlorinated tap water. I bet she's just starting to get a little bit hungry, but that's a problem for tomorrow. Today, I'm just going to throw some water at her to make sure that her peat puck has hydration. 3 days later, she's still complaining about being hungry. I think it's time to fix that. She must have some roots in the water by now. Let's take a peek. Oh, perfect. She has a few roots that have made it out of the net pot and into the reservoir below. It won't be long now until her reservoir is filled with more roots than water. I'm going to add 40 ml of Canna Coco A and 40 ml of Canna Coco B. That's a concentration of 2 ml per liter of water. Canna does have a line of nutrients for DWC gardening, but I don't have it, so I'll be giving this a shot. In hindsight, I think that, like in cocoa, it would have been beneficial if I had added 1 ml per liter of CalMag. With synthetic nutrients, I consider 750 ppm as a standard concentration. I think that 600 is still plenty for this size of plant though. Using liquid indicator drops, I'm pleased to see that the pH of the nutrient solution is yellow, which is roughly 6. It's very convenient that 2 ml per liter of Canna Coco nutrients in my water always seems to naturally have a pH which is suitable for hydroponics. She has grown significantly after only 2 days, and her fresh growth is coming in clean. Three days later, on her 16th day, she's grown plenty large enough for me to feel comfortable with starting her training. Her trunk thickness is larger than 3 mm with vertical ridges, and her lower nodes are a substantial size. She does still have a few minor imperfections that are getting in the way of the view. After I remove the evidence, no one has to know about it. Despite her imperfections, I'm really not worried. She's still growing vigorously. Her third node is already a substantial size, and I'd feel bad removing that. So as I top her, I'm aiming for just below the fourth node. With the top of the plant removed, she now has 6 branches remaining. Her lowest branches off the first node are being shaded by the 2 largest fan leaves. I remove them to allow those lower branches to grow more vigorously. These single fan starter leaves at the base of the plant aren't really helping anymore since they're in the shade. Might as well remove them too. I then systematically remove every other branch on the plant until nothing remains except a stump. Since our berry Ryder is now in veg, I increased the power of the light to 65%, which brings her PPFD or light intensity up to 600. A big thank you to Spiderfarmer for sponsoring this video and making it possible. Any of my indoor gardens will include a carbon filter inline fan combo, extracting the hot air from the top of the tent. The negative air pressure will force fresh air to be pulled in through an open vent near the bottom. With constant wind or non-oscillating fans, you'll want to only give them a gentle breeze of air circulation so that the leaves gently wiggle at most. After that, you'll need a suitable light for the size of your garden. The SF1000 is the perfect light for a 2x2 or 60x60 centimeter space, and it's only pulling 100 watts from the wall at maximum power. I've had a fantastic time with my Spiderfarmer equipment, and I know you will too. You'll find links in the description to all of Spiderfarmer's websites from across the world. Make sure to use code BASEMENT at checkout to save 8% off your order today. She's still growing vigorously, but is showing more and more signs of deficiency. This speckled rust looks like a CalMag deficiency to me. She's been drinking some water finally, and her reservoir has dropped down a little bit, so after topping it up with some dechlorinated tap water, it's time to add some more nutrients. Instead of just adding CalMag, I choose to add 15 ml of General Hydroponics 1-part veg nutrient, Floranova Grow. It contains some CalMag, so it should do the trick. The concentration of nutrients in the water is a hair below 1,000, which should cause the leaves to darken up a bit more, as she now should have an abundance of food available for her. She's getting pretty thick with growth, but there's still minimal overlap. Nothing is really overly shaded yet. I think that'll give her a few more days before I do any more defoliation. We're back, and it's the next day. My scissors are itching, and I'm not about to stop them. I start with the inward-facing leaves. These leaves are blocking light from effectively reaching the nodes growing from below the top layer of the canopy. Topped plants tend to be very symmetrical, so what you do to one side of the plant, you tend to need to do to the other. With the central canopy cleaned up, I would typically then go on to remove evidence of my past transgressions. But I decided to keep these leaves because I feel like they're not blocking anything, and maybe some of the green on them will be able to assist in photosynthesis, helping the plant overall. After 4 days, she almost looks like a different plant. Her leaves have darkened and is looking a little bit better, but they're still speckled with rust spots, hinting at a minor CalMag deficiency. Her canopy has become dense with growth once again, and her lower nodes are being shaded by the upper leaves. If I'd like to promote her to bush out, I'm going to need to thin out her upper canopy to allow those lowers to thrive. After removing all of her damaged leaves, she's back to being in perfect health, or at least looking like it. I tried to only remove leaves that were either heavily shaded or were shading her lower node significantly. Her roots are looking really brown today, but I'm pretty sure that this is just from my use of Floranova Grow. It's known to stain roots. I adjusted the Spiderfarmer PPFD sensor to roughly match the elevation of the plant, and with the tent closed, we're seeing roughly 660 ppfd at the canopy. It always amazes me how much growth is possible in just 4 days. Yet again, she's dense with growth, and I'd like to thin out her leaves' excessive overlap. Again, I start with inward-facing leaves, picking off the high-priority targets. It always feels good to remove one leaf that's making life difficult for 3 leaves. After cleaning up the central canopy, I then focus on the bottom quarter of the plant, removing all of the leaves and small branches. This growth is much farther from the light and mostly shaded, so it's not needed. I like to take my time continuously rummaging through the canopy until I feel that the job is fully complete. Most of these larger lower leaves aren't needed anymore, since the nodes on these branches have substantial leaves of their own. This leaf isn't looking too good, so I remove it and sweep it under the rug. It's always nice when you can rotate your plants to be able to work on their backside. Once they're bound by a scrog, it can become a lot more difficult to work on their lower canopy. There's a few leaves in here that are clogging up the light penetration and air circulation through the canopy. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Today, we removed quite a few leaves, which will really help her bush out. I think she's still in veg. Her nodes aren't looking to be staggered, and I'm not seeing an abundance of pistils or hairs. Only time will tell though. We'll see how she's looking in a few days. Her roots seem to be doing pretty good. She could use a couple liters of dechlorinated tap water to bring up her water level to around 1 centimeter from the net pot. After 3 days, she's filled in beautifully. She must have given up trying to show deficiencies to me, because she's looking beautiful. Her root ball is growing larger by the day, and she's drinking faster and faster. I did add just a little bit too much water, and now the water line is touching the net pot. She'll drink that down within the next day though. Once again, her canopy is very dense with growth. I don't really feel like she needs a trim. She's already bushed out more than enough, so I'll allow the plant to overlap itself so that it can start growing vertically. Right now, the top of her canopy is getting about 780 ppfd of light intensity, so allowing her leaves to overlap will promote mostly just the tops to grow, stacking new sets of leaves on top of the last set. Today, I had a power outage that lasted a few hours. Thankfully, unlike how you saw in the last video, the time-lapse for this plant didn't get messed up. Thankfully, unlike how you saw in the last video, the time-lapse for this plant did not get messed up. 4 days later, or 6 days since I last topped up her water, and she's looking to have some problems. Again. The SE4500 is still running at 65%, and she is getting a bit close to it. So I raise up the light so that she's around 18 inches away, or 45 centimeters. I don't think the light intensity was really an issue. I just didn't feel that she really needed that high of a light intensity. 600 ppfd with 24 hours lights on is more than enough. I think that her current problem stems from her natural desire for more water. Turns out that hydroponic plants don't like not having water. Some of her leaves have really started to get crunchy. Yep, her water level is dangerously low. Even though most of her roots are out of the water, since some of them are in, she'll be alright. Before I top up her water, I give her another quick pass of defoliation, improving light penetration and airflow through the central canopy. This is also another great opportunity to hide all the evidence, making her look like a perfectly healthy plant. Today, I took off a couple more handfuls of leaves than I did the last time. The bigger they become, the more that can be removed. It can be hard to give advice on when or if you should defoliate, especially with autoflowers. You have to make an educated gamble. Should you allow the growth to stack without defoliation, or trim the plant to help bush her out to give light intensity to the mids and lowers? You really just have to get your hands dirty and start making some happy accidents. Once you've gained a bit of experience, you'll find that yield becomes the least of your concerns. For the first few weeks of an autoflower's life, I find myself stressing that maybe the plant will be too small. But more often than not, a week later, I start worrying about them being way too big. So at the end of the day, when I'm working on my plants, I try not to think about it. I just try to go with the flow and have fun in my garden. I'm sure she's feeling some relief now that her roots are fully saturated in water again. They're looking great, very healthy, and dense overall. After today's defoliation session, you would have seen me testing her flexibility. That's because today, she's going to get shoved under a Scrog net. Using a Scrog net, also known as a screen of green, allows you to apply low-stress training across the entire canopy without using tie-downs or clips. The branches on our berry Ryder are thin enough to where I don't feel like I need to super crop them or snap and tenderize them so that they can fit underneath the Scrog without breaking. I can just slowly push down the net and fold the branches neatly under. The more horizontal that you can direct the plant, the more efficient it will be for indoor gardening. The bane of a plant growing in an indoor garden is diminishing light intensity over distance. When growing outdoors, the light intensity while on top of a skyscraper is going to be similar to the light intensity on the ground. But when growing indoors, the intensity becomes less for every inch away from the light that you go. So when a plant is in veg, I try to form a nice flat canopy, an efficient structure that the buds can then stretch and stack from once they enter bloom. She might be looking a little bit mangled right now, but she'll get over it within a day or so. It's the next day, and it looks like she's already starting to get over it. She's looking great, and I think she's probably in week 1 of bloom now. Her growth is starting to stretch a little bit more than before, and it appears like it might be starting to stagger. I'm never certain when the plant is actually entering bloom, but I'm always certain after the first week of bloom is complete. After only 1 day, the water level has dropped significantly, but it's still within range. I really enjoy to automate my grows in the later stages, using a float valve and a reservoir that is positioned above the bucket to gravity feed will allow me to automatically top up my plant's reservoirs. With the berry Ryder drinking so aggressively, it will do her well if she's maintained at the correct water level. The rectangular form factor of these Spiderfarmer buckets is perfect for drilling holes and mounting components. These float valves that I got from Amazon are perfect for this application. I tried to line them up with the water line, and even then, there's a point of adjustment on them if the water level needs to go up or down. For this and my other automation applications, I've been using 1/2-inch diameter swing pipe, but it's very rigid and needs to be heated when attached or detached from the Home Depot irrigation pieces. I'll need to pick up some softer tubing. Now that the float valve is connected, let's follow it and see what it's connected to. Both the berry Ryder and the permanent marker are going to be attached to this external reservoir. This reservoir holds 25 gallons, or roughly 100 liters of water. Yeah, that'll do it. I only have some water in the reservoir until I can determine whether it's leak-proof or not. With both plants attached to the system, it's time to test it out. That's not ideal. I added a few wraps of Teflon tape to see if that would fix it. But it still leaked. The threads between the brass and the plastic fittings are a little bit different. With an extra layer of Teflon tape and an extra O-ring inside the brass fitting, the problem seemed to be solved. After reconnecting the lines leading to each plant, I turned on the main valve and rushed to check out to see the top-up in progress. It appeared to be doing a pretty good job, but I was deceived, for another leak was found. I think this leak is slow enough though that I can just place a solo cup down there to catch the drops. Hell yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to share your garden and chat with like-minded people, check out my community Discord server. You'll find a link in the bottom of the description. You're welcome to drop in and say hi. If you would like to help support the creation of these videos, you'll find a merch link down in the description as well, where you can currently find stickers, and soon much more. But again, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, and subscribe to stay tuned for my next upload.